Hello and welcome to another episode 77 of Confessions of a YarnAddict podcast. My name is Anniken. I design knitting patterns, I teach knitting workshops online and in person, and I sell my yarn through my website yarnaddict.co.uk. Welcome to today's episode. It is another hot week in Cornwall, as I'm sure you can see, because I'm wearing a rather old now sleeveless dress. I was just thinking, a couple of years ago, I would not have worn this dress while filming because I was rather sensitive about my upper arms, but I don't know, I don't care at the moment. It's just so hot. My office is really hot, and I've got the window slightly cracked open, but I haven't opened it yet because it just makes the door slam and various things. So I'm going to see if I can stick it out and not open the window till we finish filming. But it has been another hot week here in Cornwall. I'm filming this a little bit early because my parents are arriving in a couple of days. So if by the time you see this, it might be raining. I think the weather's supposed to change on Sunday, which is the day my parents are arriving. I do hope it is slightly cooler next week when they're here, because the air conditioning in our car is broken, which is not ideal in this kind of hot weather. And we basically aren't going to get it fixed for a while because of timing issues. We've just not been able to get it fixed. We actually had another car for a few weeks before we went on holiday and after we came back from holiday, because our car was in the garage for about 5 or 6 weeks, and that car was lovely because the air conditioning worked perfectly. So I missed my air conditioning. Obviously, living in Britain, if you live in Britain, you will know. In fact, if you live in Northern Europe, you probably have the same experience. If you live in the US and Southern Europe, you're probably wondering why we don't have air conditioning. But in the UK, air conditioning is very rare. Most people do not have air conditioning in their homes. I've been into a couple of shops this week that had air conditioning on, which was lovely. But private homes normally don't have air conditioning, so when it's hot we swelter. We didn't even have a fan, which is silly. We really should get a fan, but never mind. Right, I'm going to stop rambling and let's get on with the podcast. If you like this episode, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. Thank you very much to all of you who commented on episode 75, I think it was, which was my 2000 subscriber episode, and also the episode that I filmed while we were in Spain. So it was kind of my coming back from Spain episode, and I shared quite a lot from my holiday in Spain, and I've just read through all the comments this morning on that episode. Thank you very much. And I like that a lot of you enjoyed watching what we did in Spain, and said that you like watching my travels, mostly Spain and Norway. I just wrote down a few notes. I asked what you kind of like knitting, what you like watching, what you'd like to see more of, and the kind of general idea. I kind of made I made a note of all the things that people were commenting on that they would like to see more of, and there were things like more talk about trendy topics. I'm not quite sure what that means, like my view on various hot topics in the knitting world maybe. I have a couple of those videos planned, but if there's anything you'd like my opinion on, let me know, and I will film a video. I have opinions. Somebody said, I'm sorry I can't remember who it was, that they liked that I was opinionated in a good way. I like being opinionated. I like being opinionated. I like opinionated people. I don't always like opinionated people if they disagree with me, but you know, we can't be perfect. Other video ideas were reviews of tools, yarns, different kind of knitting products, that kind of thing. Yarn shopping. I probably don't film enough kind of yarn shopping vlogs. I'd like to film some more yarn shop vlogs, really. It's difficult because where I live there aren't a lot of yarn shops. There is actually a new yarn shop in the town I live in. I haven't been in. I think it's quite tiny. But you've got to start somewhere. I walked past there and I saw it kind of, it's in like an old shop that was quite big. Looks like it's been split into a few smaller units to form like almost like an arcade type place. And I walked past her and I just happened to see yarn at the back of the building, of the room. There was like a open door and a corridor, and then at the room at the back I happened to see some yarn. but I was in a hurry, so I resisted the temptation to go in. But I will pop in the next time I'm in town, which might be this afternoon or tomorrow. Different reviews on knitting needles, tools, yarns, that kind of thing. Videos on knitting techniques, hints and tips, cast-ons and cast-offs, and when to use them, provisional cast-ons. I think I have some on provisional cast-ons, I'm not sure. And design process. Those were some of the things that I wrote down. So I'm going to keep those and add them to my video list to film over the summer. Also, I have drawn the winner of the 2000 subscriber giveaway. I can't remember what the price is now. It was either a certain amount of up to a certain amount in value of your choice of yarn, notions, beads, whatever, knitting patterns from my online shop or one of my online courses. The winner is Denise Beasley. I have replied to your comment on episode 75, Denise. So if you're watching, you should have hopefully had a notification. But if you haven't, please email me and let me know what you'd like as your price, or email me and then I'll get in touch and we'll discuss price options and I will get that out to you as soon as possible. So thank you very much to everyone who entered. I counted up all the comments and then I called out to my husband, who's in the other room working, and asked, give me a number between 1 and whatever it was, and he gave me a number, and then I just counted down the number of comments till I got to that number. So a very manual way of drawing a winner, I think. But thank you very much, I really appreciate it. If you have any ideas of videos you'd like and you didn't comment on that post, you can always leave a comment on this post. I also asked why you enjoyed knitting, what you liked about knitting, and I really enjoyed reading those comments as well. So thank you very much. Right, let's move on to what I've been knitting and what I've been up to in the last, I think it's 2 weeks since I filmed now. So let's have a chat about what I've been up to. So today's Friday. This isn't going to be out till the following Thursday because I'm filming this early. So today's Friday, the 16th of June. Because my parents are arriving on Sunday, I can't film next week. So, and I wanted to do another podcast episode that should have gone out yesterday, but I just haven't had time. So I thought if I film one today, I can put that out next week. But that means that I feel like I'm filming way too far ahead, but that's okay. But last week, so a week ago today, I finished this lace scarf. I can't remember whether I talked about this in the last episode or not. I think maybe I did, because I filmed a few different things lately that haven't been released yet. I'm slightly confused about where I am with everything. But last week on Saturday, so it'll be 2 weeks tomorrow, I cast on for a little beaded lace scarf. I used one skein of Manos Uruguay Fino in this colourway that I absolutely love and I've been wanting to use for ages. I'm teaching a beaded lace knitting workshop at the Knitting Hotel in Devon in July. It's 2 days, and the idea is that they cast on for a project to work on. And I have quite a few beaded projects, but most of them are slightly bigger shawls. So I thought, let's just design a small, easy one skein shawl, so if people want something fairly small, they can cast that on. So I kind of designed this especially for that workshop. I thought it would be a lot shorter. I kind of wish I'd made it slightly wider, but it's ended up 195 centimeters long, so nearly 2 meters, and it is about 26, just over 26 centimeters wide. I probably could have added another repeat to it and made it slightly shorter, but I really like it. It is really pretty. It has beads, but it doesn't have like a ton of beads. So each repeat is 20 rows and it has 9 repeats in each repeat. I think that's it. So it's not, you know, huge. I'm going to put it on, although it is very hot, so it won't be staying on. But you can wear it kind of bunched up like that. It's long enough to wear like that. You can just kind of wrap it around your neck a couple of times like that, and then it kind of goes down to like, well, nearly waist on me, I think. So there's different ways you can wear it, and if you have less yarn you could make it shorter. So what I was thinking was, if you had 50 grams of yarn, you could just make it long enough so you can kind of cross it over at the front and fasten it with a shawl pin or something. So I'm really happy with it, and this took me, I actually timed myself and I knitted this, and it took me 7 days exactly. I cast on the Saturday and then I finished it on last Friday, so a week ago. So it took me 7 days to knit it, and I hit a timer on my phone every time I picked it up, and every time I put it down to like pick my phone up to like scroll Instagram or Twitter or something, or do something else on my phone, I would pause it and then start it again when I put my phone down and started knitting. And it took me just over 14 hours, about 14 hours and 18 minutes or something, to knit it over 7 days. So how much is that per day? So if you say 14 and a half hours, it was slightly less than that. So that was about just over 2 hours a day. Obviously I do knit quite fast, so I would expect that most people would take slightly longer than that, and also I'm obviously a very experienced lace knitter and I'm quite quick at adding beads, so you know, I am a bit quicker. But the pattern is being tech edited at the moment. I've had the first version back this morning and did all the corrections. There weren't that many because it's quite a simple pattern, and sent it back to my tech editor, and I think she's just emailed me back. So I'm not sure. I was going to wait and release the pattern in July around the time when I'm teaching the workshop, but I'm now thinking maybe I'll release it next week, which will be this week when you're watching this. I'm not sure yet. I haven't taken like proper photographs. I've taken some photographs of it on my dress form, but I haven't taken proper photographs yet. I want to photograph this sweater, my Knitting for Olive sweater, which I'm still working on the pattern. Oh, I've just folded it up and flung it over some stuff, and I realised it's getting a bit creased. I might actually go and hang that up after I finish this, see if the creases will drop out. I haven't managed to get a proper photographs of that yet, partly because it's just been so hot I haven't wanted to put it on, but also it's been very sunny, and photos in bright sunlight is not a good idea. And we've been really busy. I am having my hair cut next week, so I'm thinking about waiting until I have my hair cut, because my fringe is way too long and my hair's a mess. And so I'm thinking if I wait till I've had my hair cut, get photos of that sweater and then some photos of this scarf at the same time, and then I can release the scarf in early July probably. So that was what I was knitting on mostly last week, and that meant that my poncho that I cast on in Spain was on hold last week for most of the week, and this week I've been trying to get back into knitting on it. I'd hoped to be able to do this out of 2 100-gram balls of Saba ball to fit me, but I blocked it just to see how long it was, which I shared in the last episode, and it wasn't long enough, so I joined in another ball, and I haven't done that much since I joined in the other ball. I didn't put a marker in when I joined in the other ball because I thought I'll see where the tail is, so that's where I joined in halfway through that purple bit. So I've only done a few rows, but the rows I do probably have over around 800 stitches now. I did try to count one round, but I gave up. So I've only really just started this ball. I really want to try and finish this week because of the fact that my parents are arriving, and it'd be nice to get the pattern finished and pattern written up and off to my editor before my parents come, but I haven't been able to do that. Last weekend I was working a lot on a idea I had for a pouch design, for like a clutch design. I knitted on it. It's actually nearly finished, but I'm not happy with it. I think I was holding 2 strands of DK double on 4mm needles, and it just doesn't look good, and it feels quite heavy and thick. So I'm actually going to rip that out. I haven't yet, but I'm going to rip that out. Then I'm going to try and finish this before I have a go at another clutch. I've also cast some for another design, which is for a magazine. The deadline is like middle of July, I think. And I thought with my parents coming, I would cast on so I can get it going. I'm not going to show you any details because I'm not really allowed to, but let's just give you a quick glimpse of the wrong side, and that's all you're going to see. So the yarn arrived a couple of days ago. I knitted a swatch, I measured my tension, I wrote up the pattern for the sample size, and then I cast that on yesterday because on Sunday we're going to have to drive up to Heathrow Airport near London to pick my parents up. That's going to be about 4.5 to 5 hours each way. So when Simon's driving, I can knit. I was going to knit on my socks, which I'll talk about in a minute, but I was thinking maybe I should take this and knit on that instead, because if I can, there's some patterning at the bottom. If I can get past that, it's fairly straightforward and it's knitted in the round. But if I work on that today and tomorrow, I will not be able to work on my poncho. And I was quite keen to finish the poncho, but as the poncho is not going to get done before my parents arrive anyway, I think today and tomorrow I'm going to focus on their sweater. I can knit the patterning in the car, that's not a problem, but it's easier if I can get past the patterning and knit the plain bit in the car. And that means next week when my parents are here, when I'm home in the evening and stuff, I can just pick that up and knit. Or if I need fancy something a little bit more involved, I can pick up my poncho and knit. I had planned to try and finish Simon's socks in the car, so I'm making him some socks in Fab Funky Fibres. That's the first sock, which I finished. I started on holiday, I finished when we got back from holiday. This is the second sock. I kind of hope to finish this before or while we were driving to London. And I will take this with me so that if the sweater is just too much, if I haven't got past the patterning on the sweater and knitting that in the car is too difficult, or I fancy something easier, I might pull these out. I've got most of the leg to go, so I do have quite a lot. So if you think that I am, let's see, where does the leg start? Hang on. Yeah, so I've got like from here, I've got all that to go. So I'm not gonna, I was kind of thinking if I take that in the car with me, maybe I can finish it on Sunday, but I think I'm going to take the sweater instead because the sweater is a deadline and I would like to get it finished. I could have waited till my parents left probably and cast it on and still get it finished in time for the deadline, but it would be a bit of a rush. So I thought because it's fairly easy to knit on, if I can do it while my parents are here, at least get most of it. I'd like to try and get the body done by the time they leave. And then I just have the sleeves to do, so that won't be too difficult. So that's what I'm knitting at the moment. I also have some new yarn, so let me just open this. And last week when I went to Pilates, I was wearing these trainer socks, so like shorty socks, in this bright pink opal yarn, and I was like, oh, I really like this yarn, it's really bright and cheerful. Maybe I should see if I can get another ball of it and knit some full-length socks. And when I was at Spinning Yarn on Tuesday, they had that colour on the shelf. So I was like, okay, I'm definitely going to have to get another one of these. I probably had quite a bit left from the first pair of socks, but I've no idea where that's gone. So I got another one of the colour. The opal do another one which is slightly darker and not quite so neon as this one, but I went for the neon one because it's just gorgeous and I like opal. It's a nice sock yarn to knit with. I had kind of decided I wasn't going to buy any more sock yarn for a while, especially not kind of like bog standard sock yarn, because I mostly knit with hand-dyed sock yarn, and I have quite a lot of that. And I did recently destash some like bog standard sock yarn because it's been in my stash for ages and I wasn't knitting with it, but I couldn't resist this. And then they also had this colour. This is April as well, and this was just all day. I kept looking at it. They had a really big selection of sock yarn this time. I kept looking at it and I kept thinking, oh, so pretty, that turquoise with all this like splashes of colour, speckled, speckly. And so I thought I might get this one as well. So Opal is what is it, 75% wool, 25% polyamide, which is the same as nylon, I think. And this is the country range. The stuff it says on here is in German. It's got a picture of 3 guys. I think they're 3 guys. No, 2 guys and a woman, I think. But I don't know who they are. So I don't know whether they are a band or whether they're the designers that designed this yarn. I don't know, because it's all in German and I don't understand that, so that's fine. But it's called Country Saloon. It's the colour 11293, and yeah, it's really pretty. So I don't know whether that'll be my next pair of socks or that will be my next pair of socks. With these, I might actually, instead of knitting plain socks, I might actually do a pattern socks and create a new sock pattern. This is colourway 2010, so 2010, neon pink. This one, both of them actually has a little label on it that says, it's got German, which I'm not sure what it means. It says Sean Immer. I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't know what that means. I did German at school, but it's a long time ago. And then it says mulesing free. So I guess that means that the wool they're using now is mulesing free. Is that how you pronounce it? Okay, so that's the yarn I got. This week, so the week before you watch this, I released 2 new YouTube videos. One was a vlog where I knit the what's it called, petite knit clutch. I bought the frame and the lining from Petite Knit. I ordered it, they're based in Denmark, ordered and had it shipped to Norway in January, and then brought it back when I went to Norway in January. It's knitted out of Drops boucle something. Really nice, really like it. And I recorded a vlog over 3 days, the last long weekend we had when I knitted this, and that was out. So it was this week, so it's last week when you watch this. So I will link to that below if you fancy watching that, if you haven't seen it. I don't knit other people's patterns very often, and obviously it was a very simple pattern, so maybe it wasn't a good example of me knitting other people's patterns, but I did enjoy knitting it. And then yesterday, so a week ago when you're watching this, I released a video called Does Fear Hold You Back, where I talk about and you can see from what I'm wearing in that video that I recorded it a few weeks ago. Actually, I think I recorded it in like April. Does fear hold you back? About the kind of lack of confidence and the how we're frightened of making mistakes and things like that. So a lot of kind of issues around that, which I see a lot when I teach workshops, especially. So I will link both those videos below, and at the end of this video, if you haven't seen them and you fancy giving it a watch, I will link it below. I had a big box actually, which I was going to show in the last episode, but the last episode got a bit long, so I cut it out. So let me get this box. I need to tidy this away at the moment because my office is a tip again. I've just tidied it up and then it turned into a tip. So one of the things that I need to do over the summer is go through all my samples, and then mainly all my old magazine samples, and decide what to do with them. In the past, I have tried to sell some. I've sold quite a few shawls on my website. I've never had much success selling garments on my website. Some have been given away to family members and friends who are small enough, but most of them are a size 10. And a lot of them are actually given to charity shops as well. But I would like to try and sell a few this time, so I'm going to go through them and see. I found that selling garments through my website doesn't seem to work very well. I think it's probably because of the fact they're a size 10. So you have to like the style, the color, and and it has to fit you. So what I'm thinking is I might try and list them on Depop. I've been selling a lot on my personal clothes, old clothes, shoes, things like that, bags, loads of bags, on Vinted recently, which is a secondhand selling site. And I've downloaded Depop as well, and I feel like maybe knitted stuff might go better on Depop, but I'm not sure. I've also thought about eBay. eBay just feels so big, and I guess it's because I haven't bought anything from eBay for such a long time. I don't know. So anyway, this box came back a couple of weeks ago. Actually, I might have been while we were on holiday, from Let's Knit. Let's Knit has now, as far as I understand, closed. I'm not sure when their last issue was. I had a pattern in one of their, I think it was their last or second to last issue, and I don't think they've actually sent that sample back. So, but I also haven't received a copy of the magazine, so I don't know whether they're closed or whether they are closing. They still seem to be posting stuff on their social media, but I know they announced on their Twitter recently that they were closing. I think a lot of people have known for a few months now, but very, very sad to see Let's Knit go, because they were one of the first like mainstream magazines I got published in, so I do feel very sad seeing them go. Anyway, the samples they sent back was this one, which I think is like a couple of years ago now. I used to at one point be in every single issue, and then a few years ago I cut back drastically on the amount of magazine designs I did, because I got it slightly burnt out, to be quite honest, and I kind of cut back to designing for them maybe a couple of times a year. And then at the start of COVID, I tried to increase the amount of magazines designs I did again, because obviously I stopped teaching as much. So I've had a lot more in the last 6 months in Let's Knit, and I'm really sad to see them go. But anyway, this is a tuck stitch cardigan in, I think it's Cascade Yarn's Heritage Silk. Feels really nice and soft, and I'm pretty sure it's a silk blend yarn. So that one I'm going to try and see if I can sell, because I quite like that. Then it's got this poncho, and I don't know when that was published. It's just like a poncho shoulder warmer thing. It's just meant to cover your shoulders, really. I can't remember what this was knitted in. Maybe King Cole, I'm not sure. This I think I'm going to try and sell. This one I'm not sure about. It's a shawl, asymmetrical, fairly simple shawl. I may get this knitted up again in a different yarn, and self-published a pattern, but I will probably sell this version. Most of the patterns I self-publish, I try and have them in, especially accessories, shawls and things, I try and do them in yarns that I can sell. So I think this was Cascade Yarns again, Heritage Silk maybe. Then we had the Steak cardigan. That was in April issue, I think. And I did record a video on how I steeked it. It's not like a step-by-step tutorial, because I have an online course that covers that, but I think I just filmed the process. I can't remember now, but I will link that below. That's King Cole DK. And then we have a brioche shawl. This brioche shawl, I think I will probably re-knit in a different yarn. The reason is I'm not in love with the colours, but also it's 100% acrylic, and I'm not a huge fan of acrylic. But it's gorgeous brioche. This one, my sample knitter actually started knitting, and then she broke her arm or her wrist or something. I can't remember. This was last summer, so she knitted most of the back, which is just plain 2-colour brioche rib, and then she sent it back to me, and I finished the back and knitted the 2 fronts. The 2 fronts have a bit of patterning on them, so this would be ideal for somebody who is new to brioche, because you'd have the whole back, and if you knitted that first to practice your brioche 2-colour brioche rib, by the time you finish the back you'd be well on your way with 2-colour brioche, and then you've got a bit of patterning on the front to practice your increases and decreases. And obviously, because it's brioche, it's double-sided, except the seam's not double-sided. But so I have some yarn that I'm thinking about using for this, which is a yarn I'm kind of testing out, which is quite affordable. So, and I can get wholesale. So I think I'm going to see if one of my sample knitters perhaps has time to knit that up for me over the summer, and then I can release that maybe in time for YarnAddict in September. Problem with magazines is that they have a certain period of like copyright, or when they have publishing rights, and I don't really know how that works now the magazine is no longer in business. So I need to kind of find that out as well, what happens. I thought I would get an email saying all the rights revert to me, but I haven't. So I don't know. So I need to work out what to do with those samples. I can obviously sell the samples, but it's whether I can release the patterns, I don't know. Anyway, look out. I will share more information when I get my act together to do a sample sale. The problem is I need to photograph it and measure everything. Some things need blocking or at least ironing. So I'd kind of hope to do some before my parents arrive, but that's not going to happen. We've been very busy getting the house ready. I'm not a very good housekeeper. I used to, before COVID, I used to have a cleaner. Because I had problems with my neck, I got a cleaner when my kids were still at primary school, and they're in their mid and late 20s now. So probably like 20 years ago, maybe even slightly more than that. Because I just really struggled with the housework with my neck and back problems. And she obviously stopped before COVID, and we thought that would be temporary. And then because it kept getting dragged out, and then Simon was working from home, and then 2021 we went into another lockdown, and in the meantime her daughter's had several more children. And I don't know whether she wants to come back. I don't think she does. And with both Simon and I working from home, it's not that convenient to have a cleaner in the house really when we're both here. So we've kind of decided we will try and do it ourselves. But at least before, my house was like having like a once over once a week, which was good. So that's not always happening. Certain things like floors and bathrooms get done every week, but dusting and things and deep cleaning doesn't get done very often. So we've kind of been deep cleaning the whole house. I've done the lounge and the hallway and the dining room. My daughter was home this week and she very kindly did the kitchen for me. Yes, we did pay her. It took her basically a whole day. She did the cooker and everything. She did an amazing job. And then today, this afternoon, I'm going to do the spare bedroom, and which is where we're going to be sleeping. And then tomorrow we're going to do our bedroom and then move our stuff out of our bedroom into the spare bedroom, so my parents can sleep in our bedroom. My husband has decorated. I put new flooring in the ensuite shower room because that's been needed doing for a long time. So we've had like a bit of a makeover, and it's been quite busy the last couple of weeks. We've been doing loads, mainly in the house. My office is still a tip. That's never going to change, but I do need to tidy it up a little bit because there are some things that are stacked up in the hallway that I need to get room for in here. So I'm going to see if I can edit this video before lunch and get it ready for next week. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Thank you very much for watching, and happy knitting. Oh, let me know, is it hot where you live? And do you like knitting in hot weather? I've been thinking about that a lot this week as I see people on social media saying it's too hot to knit. To be quite honest, it's never too hot to knit for me. I knit in Spain when we go in the summer. We've been in Spain in the summer when it's been well into the 30s, and I still knit. Smaller things, lighter things. But because I design for magazines, and obviously in the summer I'm working for designs for late autumn and winter, so I quite often end up knitting sweaters in the Heatwave. Last summer I was knitting that brioche thing in the Heatwave, and that was quite big. The sweater I'm knitting is all in one, so if it stays hot by the time I get to the sleeves, I'll have the body and both sleeves. I've spent quite a few Heatwaves knitting things in Decan, Aran weight, all in one, with cables, everything, and it does get quite hot. But I still knit because I love it. Anyway, let me know what you feel about knitting in hot weather. Is it hot where you live? Let me know what you knit and whether you enjoy it or not. Knitting in hot weather, that is. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.